it's really important to slow down and, not get caught up in the busyness and chaos, but just bringing it back to center and staying in the present. That's really important. Everything's so fast nowadays, there's not really time to think and be with yourself. So I think that's really important. It can help you reset and, just staying present and not getting caught up in the little things.
Welcome to the Evolve Podcast, an open forum on personal growth and cultivating a positive mindset. I'm your host, Joe Fitzpatrick. Today on the show, we have one of my sisters, Becca Fitzpatrick. Becca is my youngest sister, and she currently works as a registered nurse and nutrition coach for a functional medicine practice in Virginia Beach. Her passions include educating the community on how to live a more balanced, healthier, and meaningful life. She takes an anti-diet approach to nutrition and teaches others how to fuel their body while still enjoying foods that they love. Being very active year-round, Becca constantly researches the best ways to fuel her body with proper nutrients to stay energized and feel her best. Becca loves to cook, and her kitchen creations result from her belief in the power of whole food nutrition. She loves to experiment and share recipes that are both delicious and satisfying. Not only are they easy to follow, but they will leave you feeling fueled with goodness and energy to tackle any obstacle. Are you ready to feel the best, healthiest version of yourself? Becca can individualize your experience to create sustainable changes that you can implement into your daily life. Let's go. Thanks for getting on here with me.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this conversation. You're my first sibling that I'm recording with.
Cool.
I tried scheduling it with Catherine and Zach earlier, but they also had to reschedule. So I'll be doing theirs this week coming up, I think. But yeah. I'm sharing about my personal experiences, but I was also interested in, my siblings' personal experiences as well. Mm-hmm. I know personal growth is something that's really important to all of us in different ways. And, I'm curious to know what your personal growth experiences have looked like and how they've helped shape you into the person that you are today.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah.
So let's get to it.
All right.
So first off, please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do for a living and what you're passionate about.
So I'm a registered nurse and also a certified nutrition coach. So I currently work at a functional medicine doctor's office and help out there with nursing as well as nutrition coaching. So I used to work in public health for a little over 3 years, but really was interested in making the switch to the functional medicine realm and really passionate about that. So really love that I can combine my nursing experience with my nutrition knowledge and be able to help people there, and feel like I'm able to serve patients better than I was in public health. So I just started there in January. So I'm learning a lot and growing each day. So it's been a good switch.
Yeah, that's great. And just for clarification, what does functional wellness encompass? Can you talk more about that in detail?
Yeah, so that's more getting to the root cause of diseases or symptoms and treating that versus just kind of prescribing medicine and kind of putting a band-aid on people's symptoms. So
Mhm.
getting really to the root cause and helping people live and function more optimally is really the primary focus.
That's great. Yeah. And do you focus on like nutrition and lifestyle in
Mhm.
addition to medication?
Right. Mostly nutrition, lifestyle, diet changes, as well as chiropractic care, acupuncture, those types of healing. Um,
Mhm.
Also prescribing supplements, more nutraceutical based versus prescriptions. Yeah.
And what's your role in the office? What do you do?
So I help out, different things, taking notes while she's adjusting people or seeing patients in a room. Also getting to see people on my own for nutrition coaching which has really been fun.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah, and then going over different testing, like we can order stool analysis, different labs, different hormone testing. So getting to review that with patients as well.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And as far as the nutrition coaching goes, like, are you providing recommendations based on like what they're already doing? Like, if they're, say they're doing a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle,
Mhm.
or they're, keto or, whatever, are you sort of making the recommendations based off what, their
Right.
preferred diet is?
Kind of. Also, if we have any other outside suggestions or what we may think may fit better for them based off of their history or their blood work, things like that, we may make other recommendations.
Mhm.
Or sometimes we also base it off their blood type. I don't know if you've heard of that. Eat right for your blood type.
I
So
have.
that's been cool. So we give people different options if they're interested. If they're a blood type A, that's more vegetarian based. Blood type O's typically need more protein and meat. So we do
Yeah.
some of that too. Yeah, working where they're at. And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's interesting. I haven't really looked into that myself, but I am familiar with that philosophy.
yeah,
And I'm A positive and
yep,
eat, vegan,
hmm,
plant-based. So that's interesting to know that that is suited well for
right.
vegetarians because, it has made me feel a lot better
That's
since
good.
I switched to plant-based.
Right. Yeah, it was new to me too. I'm a positive as well, so it's interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we all are. All our
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I know.
That's funny. Do you know if mom and dad are A positive too?
I think dad's A positive and mom's A negative, but still A. So I don't think any of us are O. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So, why did you decide to switch over to the functional medicine office?
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, I really didn't feel like I was very happy where I was at that place at the health department. Just
mhm,
not something I saw myself doing long term and didn't really bring fulfillment to my day. So just wanted to make a change to something I'm more passionate about and excited to go to work for. I didn't feel like I could really help the patients in a way that I wanted to. I saw a lot of people bedbound or in their homes, with a lot of chronic conditions. So I didn't really wasn't able to help with like diet, lifestyle, manageable changes they can make at that setting. So I wanted to be able to make the change to really help people with that.
yeah, that must have been challenging to see people
Yeah,
in difficult circumstances and not being able to be empowered to, provide those recommendations that really could help them.
exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's great. And did you know someone that worked at the functional medicine office? Like, is that how you sort
Mhm.
of, you know, heard about this opportunity?
Not exactly. I kind of just did research of ones in the area. There's not too many in Virginia Beach, but I had first heard of kind of the functional medicine world in Richmond when I lived there with a couple practices and would go to talks and really was interested in that. But then moving back to this area, just doing some research and job hunting and reached out to them and they happened to need somebody, they were hiring at the time. So it worked out well. But I had reached out to them before and it wasn't a good time. So following up a couple months later, it worked out and they needed somebody. So
Was
yeah.
that due to COVID, or were they like
Um,
was it a good time before because of COVID?
Partially, I think it was more a girl was going on maternity leave, and then somebody else that wanted to switch to part time, and they really were looking for a full time person, and really liked the experience I had with nursing, and thought that would be a good fit for the team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great that you were so proactive with, doing research and,
Mhm.
finding something that you felt was more aligned with what would make you happier.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And how's your personal experience been since you joined that particular practice?
Mhm. It's been really good. It's a small team, but really being around people, more my age and into, um, more about passion for nutrition and wellness. So being around people like-minded, I think has really helped, um, be positive, and I'm learning from them and feel like we all, get along well. So it's been a good environment to be in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
And I know prior to joining that practice, while you were still working for the health department, you were doing some nutrition coaching as well on your own side.
Hmm.
Can you talk about that experience, like building out that side business and like, what that looked like then and what it looked like, what it looks like now?
Yeah. So I started a couple years ago doing that on the side, when I was working at the health department. And then I was doing pretty good with clients and everything. Felt like I was getting it off the ground, but just working full time was tough, doing it as I would have liked to do it more than I could. And then with COVID, it was really hard because people were financially struggling, and it was hard to get clients with that, definitely. So that kind of slowed things down. So I'm right now trying to build that back up again. And I think being at this new place has helped, push me in the right direction to do that and learn and grow in my coaching career too. So that's a goal right now, to build that back up again and get back, on social media more and promote myself. Because I think I have the more confidence now to learning from mistakes in the past, and coaching tools now. So
You say mistakes in the past, like what sort of mistakes do you feel like you made in the past that you've learned from?
maybe just not being afraid to reach out to people, or, different ways of coaching, or not, making things overwhelming, maybe breaking it down more for people, just different coaching strategies, I would say. But
Right.
definitely not being afraid to put myself out there too. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And I
Yeah.
struggle with that as well. You
Hmm.
know, and it is hard balancing a full-time job as well as your passion projects on the side,
Right.
uh, especially when you're putting so much energy into your day job. It's hard to have the mental capacity and creative capacity to want to do the stuff on the side. Uh,
Right.
but it sounds like you're finding that healthy balance, and with that experience, that comes more confidence, and it's really great to hear that you're being able to devote more energy back to your personal business,
Hmm.
now that you feel more fulfilled in your full-time job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mhm. What sort of like services would you provide um, in your personal business that you're not providing in your day job?
Mhm. I think more just one-on-one focus with different people, and having the access to do a weekly or biweekly meeting with them and keep them accountable.
Mhm.
Right now, it's just not as much of that at the office, but we're trying to work on that too now. Just building a coaching program and getting people notified and interested in that. But I think just having more time, and maybe with a specific audience that I would coach, maybe people my age, have struggled with dieting, yo-yo dieting in the past, and are looking to find more balance. So that's really where I'm passionate about. Yeah.
So what would you say is your why for doing what you're passionate about?
Mhm. Like I was kind of just saying before, I've struggled with, probably overtraining, under eating in the past too, and trying different diets, fad diets and things like that. But really have been the happiest, just finding balance without dieting. And just, I've always loved nutrition and cooking, healthy meals, making it fun. So I believe it shouldn't be stressful. So I think, wanting to help people with that, because I know a lot of people struggle with not knowing what to eat, not knowing how to find that balance. It has to be like all or nothing,
Mhm.
strict dieting. So I think just helping people with that is, my interest in wanting to help people break free of that diet culture.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're more focused on the like intuitive eating philosophy, making sure that you're eating to the point that you feel nourished but not full, and
Right.
not so much focusing on like counting calories, but more focusing on how the food makes you feel, and um,
Hmm.
you know, making sure that you're also having a level of activity that is appropriate for like the food you're eating, and
Right.
finding that healthy balance between healthy foods and maybe not so healthy foods, if you do want to indulge in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And mindset is so much an important part of that too. How we think about our relationship to our food, our relationship to our bodies, and
Right.
um, how we navigate all of that. And I know that there's a lot of great information online about food and nutrition and exercise, but there's also a lot of misinformation, and that can be confusing for some people. So it is helpful to have a guide, like yourself, who can provide some more direction on like what is specifically helpful for your your client in particular, whatever their personal needs are.
Right. Because everyone's different with different needs. So you can't just, say this diet's great for everybody. It's really great to work with somebody to help, help them figure out what works best for them and their lifestyle. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
On the subject of workouts and exercise, what does your current workout routine look like, and how does it serve you in other areas of your life?
So typically I do strength training about 4 days a week. So, with dumbbells, and we have an at-home gym, which has been really nice just to, go in there in the morning. So typically that, and then usually take 2 rest days, of yoga, still getting movement in, walking, getting that, you know, um, getting that is really important too. It's not all about going hard every day. So I try and do that twice a week, and then usually 1 or 2 cardio days of biking or running. So try and mix it up, and to not get bored in the same routine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I know in the past you've done some triathlons as well. Do you
Right.
have plans to do any other races?
I'd like to get back into racing. It's been a while since I've done one, but I'd love to do another half marathon. Hopefully, this November, I'd love to do the Richmond half marathon again.
Yeah.
Um, but it'd be awesome to do another triathlon too. Just need to get back into swimming again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my long-term goals is to do an Ironman race before I turn 40.
Wow.
So I know I need to do a half Ironman first, to build up to that. And I feel like I got the running down
Hmm.
pretty well, and the biking I can do for sure. Uh,
Right.
Definitely needs to do some longer distance rides like centuries.
Hmm.
I've done the half century once.
Wow.
Definitely get some more of that as well. Um, and yeah, I definitely need to do some training, because of the three, that's typically the one. If you're not already a natural swimmer, that's the one that people struggle with the most.
Exactly. It's the hardest part. Yeah.
Usually the first thing you have to do.
Right. At least you get it over with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Right. So, have you considered doing a Ironman or half Ironman before?
Not really, not in too much depth. I'd probably, I don't know. I've done the Olympic triathlons, which are just kind of a fun distance, not too long, but not too short. But I think it'd be awesome maybe in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard about the Olympic triathlon that Zach and Tom are doing? They're doing an Xterra triathlon.
I heard. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Should be
Yeah.
should be a fun race. I'm gonna talk to him about that on another episode. Hey guys, brief pause in the episode to tell you about some of the great businesses that support this podcast. First, we got Weight Train. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 10% off all Weight Train and Athleticity gym gear and apparel. No matter what you need for your workouts, they have the gear to help you get it done. And if you don't see something you want, email them at team@weighttrain.com and they will take your requests for new products. Visit Weight Train for all your gym gear needs. Next is True Nutrition. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 5% off all nutrition supplements. I'm personally a fan of their soy isolate vegan protein powder, available in a variety of flavors and strengths, from light to heavy. They also have non-vegan protein powders if that's not your thing. I personally recommend the cinnamon bun and toasted coconut flavors in the heavy strength, and I add them to waffles, oatmeal, protein shakes, and ice cream. They're delicious. Check out their wide range of supplements at affordable prices that are third-party tested and verified for content quality. They are able to provide such great prices because the supplements come direct from the manufacturer without any marketing gimmicks or fancy labels. Visit truenutrition.com to supplement your workouts and your nutrition. Last is Hate Brand Goods. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 15% off all Hate Brand clothing and accessories. Their goat shorts and shirts are the most comfortable clothing I've ever worn, and they have the coolest designs. However, their clothing drops are only available in limited quantities, so get your favorites while you can, and be on the lookout for other drops that you're stoked on. Visit thehate.com, spelled HVIII, for clothing to remind the world that you're not dead yet, and you're ready to kick today in the dick. Back to the show. What projects are you currently working on, or have you recently finished?
Right now, I'm just working on, I started this new job in January, so getting comfortable there, as well as, like I mentioned, just trying to get back into the nutrition coaching realm again, and really building that. So that's my focus right now. I know it's hard at the end of the day with work, but really need to dedicate time, after and on the weekends to build that up again. May seem hard in the short term, but worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you create customized nutrition plans for your clients?
I do. And not typically like strict meal guides that they have to follow, but just, a guideline, and then helping them. If they do a food diary, that kind of helps me see where they're at, and then where I can kind of adjust things for them or make suggestions. But I do have sample meal guides too. Mm-hmm.
Are you like creating those continuously based on like what the client's needs are, or do you have like a sample of like pre-made guides that you just pull from based on what the client's needs are?
Right, mostly the pre-made, but if they're looking for more of that, definitely could help them make one cater to them. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
What does your morning routine look like each day?
Usually get up around 5:30, then make coffee, typically, then work out. So I like to do that first thing. That gives me energy, to get the day going, and boost my mood too. Then I like to, make a breakfast, a nourishing post-workout breakfast, and then try and do a gratitude journal after that, before going to work. Just, time for myself before I can go help others. I think that's really important, to start
Yeah,
the day. Yeah.
absolutely. Y'all are early risers.
Yeah. I know. I'm not a good afternoon workout person, so I like to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time are you usually starting work?
8:30, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Got a few hours in there to
Yeah.
do your own thing.
Right.
Do you ever, who takes care of the dogs in the morning?
Well, Chris works from home most days, so he's always here, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the daycare is getting so expensive. But if not, he'll take her there, or I come home at lunch usually, so I can let her out if he does go to work. So she's okay here, for a good amount of time.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I also work from home, so uh,
Yeah.
I'm our dog's primary caretaker. That's
Yeah,
gonna be cool.
that's nice. You get to go out at lunch together, or
Yeah, we go on walks.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
When you're in a creative slump, what do you use to get out of it?
I think for me, it's helpful to just, unplug from technology and my phone, and, really just be in my own space. But getting outside in nature, going for a walk, that usually helps clear my head and, gets rid of any mental blocks that I'm having. Because it can just be so easy to compare to others too, and, content on Instagram and all that. So really just being in my own space and having that time to clear my head really helps.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's really important
Yeah.
to go outside, get some oxygen.
Right.
Uh, Time spent outdoors in green space can help prevent depression, and
Yeah.
definitely been helpful for me in coping with my anxiety and depression, and just enhancing my quality of life.
Definitely.
Plus, good to move throughout the day just to keep that blood flow circulating and get those steps in.
Exactly. Yeah. Even just seeing the color green helps boost
Yeah,
mood and getting that vitamin D. Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to have the house plans too.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
color green is a good reminder to get outside.
Right. It's good for the air too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What's an obstacle that you're currently facing or recently faced, and what practices do you use to cope with it?
Well, recently I did injure my knee during a workout, just, landed on it wrong. So that's been frustrating. I was just really getting back into running a lot after, taking a break from that and doing a lot of trail runs. So that's been tough not being able to do that. Live a very active lifestyle. So just trying to modify things has been hard. But just focusing on what I can do versus what I can't do has been really helpful, and knowing, I'm giving my body the rest it needs. Don't want to make things worse. So just trying to be patient and let my body recover during.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely hard to take that step back.
it is.
Injuries myself over the past year.
Mm-hmm.
The last one was a mountain bike
So no,
accident.
what
It was
happened?
flipped over the handlebars, and I like hurt my wrist and my shoulder. Um,
Oh,
it's taken a while for myself to get like my strength back, but I'm starting to get to a pretty good place where like my shoulder's not feeling so bad when I'm like doing push-ups or um, doing bench presses and stuff like that.
that's
Um,
good. Yeah, strengthening it.
yeah, absolutely. What
Did
were
you?
you doing when you heard it?
I was doing, it's called an X hop. It's kind of like a squat jump modification, but
Uh,
I just landed on it wrong. I think my legs were fatigued already, and maybe doing a couple things that were different movements, like laterally, different ways, maybe just, threw it off.
mhm.
So
I hope you have a swift recovery,
thank you. Yeah.
and I think your mindset for giving your body the rest it needs is really important too. It is important to to focus on what we can do and what rather than what we can't, and also know that rest is okay and it will only help us be stronger in the end.
Exactly. I'm not the best at resting, but have to keep reminding myself.
I feel like that's in our family's blood. We're not the best at resting
Yeah,
or taking time off from
exactly.
exercise. uh, how do you practice self-care in your life to give yourself the energy to focus on your personal growth?
Well, like to, start my day with a workout, like I mentioned, that really helps, really good for my mood and energy, as well as just getting outside and trying to go for a walk at lunch, after work, just movement really helps clear my head and, reset. Also, just taking time at night, I think, is important to wind down. I love to make some tea, read a book, and just, wind down at
Mm.
night after a long day.
Right. Do you guys try and have like a no screens policy after a certain point?
Somewhat. We've been starting to. We did no TV in May, and that was actually really nice.
At all?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But we realized we actually like it. Sometimes at night we'll just say like 20 minutes, but we usually feel better. Just reading or something can
Mhm.
sleep better and just enjoy talking or things like that.
Yeah, it makes me think of intuitive eating, like we were talking about earlier. It's intuitive watching, uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
making sure that you are, you know, being more intentional about how you consume your TV. Like, you realize you like it, but you also don't want to overdo it. So you're like, I'll have 20 minutes here
Hmm.
rather than, turning it into a multiple hour, binge or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great that you guys can, figure out what works for you, and also have that awareness of, you know, the other activities that you enjoy, like, reading and
Hmm.
hanging out together, drinking tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so now we're moving into our final questions. To wrap up, we have a few recurring segments on the episode, starting with our mindset moment. What is a quote or tip you use that inspires you to keep going and stay positive despite personal hardships?
I really like this quote by Deepak Chopra. He says, "In the midst of movement and chaos, keep stillness inside of you." I think that's really important, especially nowadays with just the hustle and bustle of life. It's really important to slow down and not get caught up in the busyness and chaos, but just bringing it back to center and staying in the present. That's really important. Everything's so fast nowadays. There's not really time to think and be with yourself. So I think that's really important. It can help you reset and, just staying present and not getting caught up in the little things is important.
Absolutely. Do
Mhm.
you meditate at all?
I try to. I do yoga, but I should be setting, time like 5 minutes even. Chris is really good at that. Every morning he gets up and will meditate, and
Mhm.
he's been doing that for a month or two. But I'd like to start getting into it, even just 5 minutes and then
Yeah.
building from there.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great way to practice stillness and, cultivate a greater sense of mindfulness. It's been
Right.
helpful for me. I don't do it regularly, but it is part of my yoga practice. Sometimes I'll end my yoga practice with like, a 2 or 5 minute sit, just focusing on my breathing,
Mhm.
sometimes guided, sometimes self-guided. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, you mentioned earlier that you have your gratitude journaling process. That's definitely part of mindfulness as well, and a good way to cultivate that stillness and cultivate that intentional, like, you know, presence and, in the present moment.
Right. A lot of people think it has to be just, sitting there quiet, but there's really multiple forms of, meditation and mindfulness. So I think that's a great point, walking, journaling, anything you can to, bring your focus to the present.
Yeah. And I know part of intuitive eating is mindful eating as
Mhm.
well, really focusing on the five senses, you know, the feel of the food in your hand or in your mouth, the smell of it, the taste of it, really trying to savor the food and actually experience it rather than just shoving it down,
Right. Right.
that can help you to feel more satisfied, more full, because you know, you're actually present for the whole experience of the meal.
Yeah.
And that is really hard, I think,
Mhm.
uh, especially with how fast everything is in our culture,
Mhm.
always on the move, and especially if it's during the workday, we're focused on getting to the next thing. So yeah, that can be a challenging practice, but definitely worth it for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. And I know just people, are on their phone while they're eating, and that's just distracting. And I know there's studies you're more satisfied, being away from technology and just focusing on your food after really can help boost your fullness and satiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next is our PMA Warrior of the Week. Who is someone who inspires you to keep a positive mental attitude?
That's a tough one. A lot of people definitely do inspire me. But Chris, my boyfriend, he's always there, supportive throughout the day. If I come home and have a negative or bad day, he's always there to, build me up and make me laugh and, give me that energy I need to bring back to the present and not focus on the negativity. Um, yeah. Also, Zach is always, great energy, always, makes me happy and just great person to be around, very inspiring for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Zach moved to Las Vegas almost 2 years ago, and we miss him dearly.
we do.
But we got to see him earlier this year,
Yeah,
and we'll see him again at my wedding in October, hopefully, depending on what happens with him and his wife Shay. Their baby is due around that same time, so
yeah.
we'll see him again relatively soon. I get to see him actually in August for my bachelor trip. We're going
Nice.
to North Carolina.
Oh, cool.
That'll be fun.
That's a nice area. Yeah, that's exciting. That'll be here before you know it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last is good food, good mood. What is one of your go-to meals that helps you to feel your best?
Mhm. Oh, so hard. Hard to pick one, but I love, in the morning a good smoothie bowl with, healthy fats, protein, fiber. My go-to right now is blueberries, frozen banana, some frozen kale. Mix that in with vanilla protein, peanut butter, coconut water, and oat milk, and making a thick smoothie bowl. Then adding in some toppings like almond butter, chia seeds, homemade granola. That really, gives me the energy and keeps me full for a while. So I love doing that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Great post workout meal, especially in the summer. It's nice and cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Where can people connect with you if they want to follow along on your personal growth journey?
So they can follow me on Instagram at Becca Fitz Nutrition. Also my website, beccafitznutrition.squarespace.com. Can always shoot me an email as well, beccafitznutrition@gmail.com. Be happy to chat, or if anyone's interested in connecting, be happy to talk.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thanks, Becca.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out our podcast. I hope you got a lot out of it and it was helpful for you in your personal growth journey. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, please do so on your preferred podcast provider. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Stay blessed and keep the PMA. Later.